Today, we've got the first look at the Samsung Galaxy S25 Ultra on top of plenty of confirmations on the specs, so make sure you hit subscribe now and we'll get right into it. So first up, before we get into the reveal, we've got news that we're going to be seeing some upgrades to the S25 Ultra's camera system, and they'll be sticking with the quad camera setup, but the ultra-wide is going to be getting an upgrade from the current 12 megapixel sensor to a new 50 megapixel sensor. Now, if that wasn't enough, the 10 megapixel telephoto camera is also getting upgraded to a 50 megapixel sensor, as well as an upgrade to 5 times optical zoom, and the main sensor is going to be another 200 megapixel sensor, but it's expected to be an improved sensor to last year, and overall it's looking like a versatile camera system for the S25 Ultra. Next up, we've got news that while the battery capacity is going to remain the same as last year, we'll still be getting improvements to battery life thanks to new AI, and it's going to analyze the usage patterns and optimize background tasks in order to extend the battery life, and apparently we can expect this to improve battery life by 5 to 10%. So it's great news for those of you that want longer battery, but to be honest, there are already plenty of adaptive battery saving features in One UI, and I've already covered this in a best settings video, so I'll place a link to that down in the description below for those of you that want it. We've also got confirmation that the Snapdragon 8 Gen 4 is going to be used exclusively for the S25 Ultra, and the Exynos is going to be used for the S25 and the S25 Plus in certain regions, and it's looking like the Snapdragon 8 Gen 4 is also going to be used exclusively for the Fold 6 and the Flip 6. Now, Samsung and Google are continuing to work together on getting the most out of the chipset with AI features, and thanks to Android 15 along with the new One UI, we can expect a lot more AI features and functions. Now, next up, we've got the first look at the Samsung Galaxy S25 Ultra thanks to all of the leaked information, as well as some anonymous information that I've received. I've created these renders here based on everything we know so far, and as I mentioned last week, we may finally see a full screen display with no punch hole camera for the selfies. Now, the news comes from a source that's contacted me, and they say that there's been improvements to the under panel camera, which mean Samsung is very likely to use it in the S25 Ultra, but they also advise that it's not perfect either. Apparently, there are prototypes being tested with under-panel selfie cameras, and there's also going to be AI features added to help take photos with the rear camera for those times that you do need the maximum quality. But as I said before, it's someone that's got in contact fairly recently, and I hope their information is accurate. But with no proven track record, I can't give any information on how reliable this is, but of course I'll keep updating the renders if anything changes. One of the biggest changes last year was the display though, with a new anti-reflective coating as well as a very bright and accurate display, and given that Samsung are leading the way in terms of mobile displays, I expect to see the same improvements this time round. But for those of you excited for the new Galaxy S25 series, we're now going to run through the full specs, design, and the expected pricing to help you guys decide if it is worth the wait, so make sure you hit subscribe now and we'll get right into it. So first up, we've got the standard Galaxy S25, which is coming with a 6.36-inch dynamic AMOLED display with improvements to brightness and color accuracy. We're getting a 120Hz display with HDR10+ and a resolution of 1080 by 2340, and of course protected by Gorilla Glass Victus 3. We get a 12 megapixel punch hole camera for the selfies, and then on the rear it's a triple camera setup consisting of a wide, an ultra wide and a telephoto camera, but unfortunately at this time we don't know the exact sensors being used. It's going to be powered by the Snapdragon 8 Gen 4 in USA, and the global models are going to be using the Exynos 2500, and it's coming with a choice of 8 or 12 gigabytes of RAM and 128 up to 512 gig storage, and this will be UFS 4. It's coming with a 4100 mAh battery with 45 watt fast charging, and it will of course come with 5G, Bluetooth 5.3, Wi-Fi 7 and ultra wideband support, and it's going to be launching with One UI 7 based on Android 15, and it's expected to launch from around $800 in January 25. So next up, we've got the Samsung Galaxy S25 Plus, which is coming with a 6.7-inch dynamic AMOLED display, and again we get improvements to brightness and color accuracy. We get a 120Hz display with HDR10+ and a resolution of 1440 by 3120, and again is protected by Gorilla Glass Victus 3. We get a 12 megapixel punch hole camera for the selfies, then on the rear it's a triple camera setup consisting of a wide, an ultra wide and a telephoto, but again at this moment in time we don't know the exact sensors being used. Now it's going to be powered up by the Snapdragon 8 Gen 4 in the USA, and then the global markets are getting the Exynos 2500, and it's coming with 12GB of RAM and a choice of 256 or 512 storage, and this will of course be UFS 4. It's coming with a 4900 mAh battery with 45W fast charging, and of course it's going to come with 5G, Bluetooth 5.3, Wi-Fi 7 and ultra wideband support, and it's going to be launching with One UI 7 based on Android 15, and it's expected to launch from around $1,000 in January 2025. Now finally, we've got the most premium model, the Samsung Galaxy S25 Ultra, and the S25 Ultra is coming with a 6.9-inch dynamic AMOLED display with improvements to brightness and the color accuracy. We get a 120Hz display with HDR10+, a resolution of 1440 by 3120, and it's going to be protected by Gorilla Glass Armor 2. We're likely going to get a 12-megapixel camera for the selfies, but there are a few rumors that it could be the first S phone with an under-panel camera. And on the rear, we get a quad-camera setup consisting of a wide, an ultra-wide, a telephoto, and a periscope camera. But again, at this moment in time, we don't know the exact sensors being used. Now it's going to be powered up by the Snapdragon 8 Gen 4 in all regions, and it's coming with 12GB of RAM and up to 1TB of storage, and this will of course be UFS 4. It's coming with a 5000 mAh battery with 45W fast charging, and it will of course come with 5G, Bluetooth 5.3, Wi-Fi 7 and ultra wideband, and it's going to be launching with One UI 7 based on Android 15, and the S25 Ultra is expected to launch from $1,300 in January 2025. So overall, the Galaxy S25 series is looking very similar to its predecessor again, but we do get plenty of upgrades in the form of the display, the cameras, the chipset and the software, and if we do get the first full-screen display on a Samsung S phone, then I'm sure many people are going to be excited. Now, a lot of focus is still going into AI, and with the partnership between Samsung and Google, we're no doubt going to see some impressive new features with the launch of the S25 series, but of course there are still so many similarities to its predecessor, so I can't imagine anyone with the S24 Ultra is going to be rushing for an upgrade, but for those of you with an older S phone or looking to try out your first S phone, this is going to be a great choice. Now of course we're still quite a way away from launch at the moment, but as we approach it, more and more leaks are going to come in and I'm going to be sharing them as soon as they do, so make sure you subscribe so you don't miss a thing in the future.